The amazing ladies of Living on Lake Lanier are here to share their knowledge about lake life and selling on the lake. So y'all come on up. Teresa, McKenzie, and I just lost the name. Michelle. I'm like Teresa, McKenzie, and completely and Michelle with one L.
Here's a lake map if anybody wants to see it. 692 miles of shoreline, 5 counties. So if anybody's interested in looking at it, then y'all are certainly welcome to. We put those in all of our listings showing where they actually are on the lake.
Where could someone purchase one of these?
Let's see.
Bass Pro Shop.
Bass Pro Shops?
What?
Bake store, Bass Pro Shop.
No, sorry, the mess.
We put the contact information that they send. They just send us the maps, and then I take them to Bobby, the printer at LDI, and then he laminates them.
I'll say we have a laminator here, but not this big. It's like a paper laminator.
Yeah, yeah. So Bobby does them.
And then on the back.
Safety.
Oh, cool. Don't litter in the lake.
Okay, well, we're excited to be here. If you guys have any questions about selling on the lake, which is a ton of fun, by the way. I got started years ago when we had moved here and went into business with our cousins that had built some rental cabins on the lake, and then we started a boat rental business. And that was like in 2001. That's when I got my real estate license and decided that I guess I will just work on the lake. And when the rental boats aren't rented, I would take people out in the boat to show them around. That's how it all got started a long time ago. So anyway, there's just a lot of stuff to know. The Corps of Engineers is, they rule the lake. And every bit of property that has shoreline is owned by the Corps of Engineers. Prices depend on if your coreline's close to the water where you can actually have a view, or far away from the water where you don't have a view. So anyway, couple of things we're going to be talking about today: the Corps of Engineers, that rule the lake, and dock permits, and then support to follow the rules and ask for permission rather than forgiveness. So let's see here. Fees. For buyers, typically their most expensive initial expense with the Corps is going to be during their change of ownership. Dock permits do not transfer. When a property sells, the dock permit becomes null and void, and the new buyers have to apply for what's called a change of ownership. Y'all should have some handouts there that kind of show you on one of them that you see where special conditions are. And we've
Does everyone
got
have a handout? First of all,
Is it the one with the yellow?
the yellow at the top,
Yeah.
all of them.
that's change of ownership. That is what people have to fill out after they purchase the lake property. This is everything that, let's see, you have it right there.
Did we get them along with
You
that?
see where that special condition is right here?
Yes.
So those people that have special
right there.
condition, they were mowing.
It's this one.
Oh, yeah, they were mowing
Yeah.
the grass behind their house, and they did not have a mowing permit. So if you see what it says unauthorized. Unauthorized mowing has occurred on government property. Vegetation in the impacted area must be allowed to regrow naturally. Photographs taken during recent inspections will be used as comparison for monitoring natural forest reestablishment. Requests for new and additional facilities will not be authorized until government property is restored. So people that do this, they cut limb trees, mow, if they've got grass to the water, but they don't have a mowing permit. They get these, we call them the signs of shame. And they are big yellow signs, which I'll say they are like 3 feet by 4 feet or something like that. They're massive.
Yeah, they're huge.
They are.
High up on the tree, so you can't get them down
Yes.
in your yard.
So
In your front
facing
yard.
out to the lake where everybody that drives by on the boat is like, and they also put it right behind your house. So every time you look out at your core line, you've got a big sign there. Like the fines and things like that, but we'll go into that later on. Let's see here. there's 10,615 dock permits on Lake Lanier. Right now, people that don't have a dock permit are on a list to see if they would qualify for a dock permit. And there's 731 people on that list right now. So the people that put their name on the list in 2015, I know 2 people in 2025 that actually were issued a dock permit 10 years later. So if you sell a home on the lake that doesn't have a dock permit, and some agents may advertise should qualify for a dock permit, that is so not true. If it's not there, it's not happening for a long time, at least.
Teresa, on that, is there a rule of thumb you guys use for the value the dock brings? I mean, it's a big number.
You know what, Carrie, that's a great question, because some people only have platform docks, which they're not permitting platform docks anymore. But you know, what do we think? Like 25 to maybe 50, maybe
50 for plat. What do you think about, I think even for a dock, 50 or more.
And then a single slip dock, right, you know.
100.
But if you have a Mac Daddy double slip dock with a party deck and all that kind of stuff, at least 100.
Well, I mean, it costs at least 100 alone just for the.
Yeah.
Just to buy one, that's true.
Can I ask a question on that? So the
Sure.
platform dock, that's just like
Square.
a square that you can lay out on and
Floating.
swim on. But
It's
you
floating.
cannot attach a jet ski ramp to that, or can you?
There's.
Well, that's a good question, Dara. I don't think there's enough room
Okay,
Typically on a.
on a platform
back of the
dock.
cove.
It's in the back of a
There's shallow
cove,
water.
shallow
Okay.
water. It's floating, but it
Okay.
doesn't have a slip that you can put your boat in. It's like a floating
Square.
platform. Yeah.
yeah.
Some people do, but I don't know if it's necessarily allowed, but just because of the water fluctuations, some people will tie up their boat or jet ski for the weekend or the summer while they're there.
Okay, when the water's high enough, yeah.
Yeah, when
Okay.
it's water, yeah, when
Okay.
it's high enough. Most of those are on dirt,
Yeah.
a lot of times in the winter.
Okay. Alrighty, let's see, 731 new permits are still waiting to be reviewed by the Corps. And there's only 114 dock slips left on the lake. So it's tough.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
So you said that the day they close, it expires. Does that mean that new owner is gonna have to be on that list
I'm
or?
gonna talk about that.
Oh, you're gonna talk about it. I'm not gonna ask that
Got
yet.
that one.
Okay, I'll wait for that answer.
So anyway, it's your turn.
Teresa, real quick, out of those 1,414 slips left, does that include the ones that are the community slips or are those just individual?
Well, the community slips, they're still doing community slips, but what they do is they take your shoreline. And what normally would be, you've got to have 82 feet of shoreline in order to even qualify for a dock permit. But they give you 2 to 1 if you do a community
So
slip.
2 slips equal 1 permit.
One permit, okay.
Okay, so the dock permits will expire at closing. So once your homeowner closes, they've received the recorded deed. That's the first thing you need before you can do anything, because they're gonna want that at the core, showing that you own the home. They'll need to apply for a change of ownership, and it's super easy. It's on the website, the whole packet's there.
You've got a whole packet right there.
Under the Army Corps of
Yeah,
Engineers,
that's fine.
yes, that's the packet with the yellow on it. So you can't transfer a dock permit, so sometimes the permit's good for 5 years. So sometimes you'll get the permit from the homeowner, from the seller, and it says, oh, good for 3 more years. So you would typically think, oh, I don't have to change it into my name for 3 more years. But once that transfers into your name, you've got to get it into your name, and then you will pay for 5 years.
Have y'all experienced where somebody got denied, like if they bought a property and the permit expired and they went to go get not transfer, but get the permit renewed in their name? Any issues with that? Okay.
No.
We're like a year behind right now.
Yes, they're very far behind. Let's see, so when you are writing an offer, make sure you get a copy of the dock permit to make sure that it is in good standing and that it is within that 5-year period. And we attach it as an exhibit, showing that we've seen it, we know it's a valid dock permit, that's in good standing. And then the special conditions which you have on here, make sure there's not saying something that they've cut down a bunch of trees and they're in trouble for it, or check the size of the walkway, the size of the dock. Sometimes this process can take a year or so be patient. So you can still sell a house, even if, and this happens all the time. So the seller will say, we've paid our money, we've paid for the renewal, we've sent our money in, but we don't have it back because it could take a year. It's still okay to sell that home. You know, they paid, you know, it's in process, so you can still sell it to the next person.
After renewal and the change of ownership just run simultaneously.
Mhm. And then on that with not being able to modify a dock permit without any of the core approval first. One thing I did want to mention about when you're doing that change of ownership process, that's a great opportunity to be able to, like, if you do have a single slip dock, if you think maybe you can get a 32 by 32 in there, go ahead and request it on that change of ownership process. That's the time to ask for anything, even though they might say no. So don't do any modifications until they approve you, but that's a good opportunity to at least put it on there during your change of ownership process.
And they have to, how do they approve that?
What?
How do they approve that? You have to have 50 feet, they laser point, you have to have
Oh, yeah.
50 feet between the left dock to the left and the dock to the right.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you do that, you're like, ooh, maybe I can get one. So you still have to apply, but that's what they follow.
Mm-hmm. Totally, yeah. So even if there's down to like the removal of a dead tree, something that is, you know, unless it's crossing over your path to your dock, they do allow you to cut out a chunk that's like that 6 feet down to your dock so that you can at least access it. But they don't want you to do anything else. If there's something threatening, whatever, you have to get approval for that. If it's leaning, take pictures, send it in. You have to get it. You have to be issued a, what is it called? A tree something certificate.
Permit.
Yeah, it's like something very generic. Very tricky. But you have to have that. And then also one thing to keep in mind, we get asked this all the time, is even if it looks like you might be able to take a golf cart down to your dock, it's a no-go. Don't just assume that you can. You have to have a mobility permit in place. Also, they will come out and make sure that the grade is not too steep. And on that mobility permit, it has to state that it is a medical necessity for that person. And they have to be a resident in the house. They don't have to be on the deed, but they do have to live full-time in the home of that person with a disability to be able to use that golf cart down to the dock.
Legally.
Legally. Legally.
So, yes, I'm gonna go ahead.
Everyone does it.
So what you're saying is, if you have a golf cart, you have to have a permit, a mobility permit.
Yep.
Because you have to have a medical need in order to use a golf cart to carry your cooler of beer to the boat.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sure, on the same
and
page.
when you go to sell your house, that doesn't carry over. So your next
There's a
person,
lot of rules.
yeah, I mean, hip replacement, knees, I mean, anything, just try to get that doctor's note. But yeah, people do it. So, but be careful because they'll come around and do inspections. And if you don't want that thing just sitting right there, hey, I'm using this all the time. Maybe try to hide it if you have one of those. One other thing, what?
Would that be the same thing if you need to get a cart path cemented, or would it have to be?
You
There's
can't
no
cement at
cart.
all.
No, we'll see some of those being grandfathered in though, a cemented path down to the water. But there was a scenario lately that happened, I think, with one of those cement things. And Craig was saying that they had to get it torn up. The new
Oh.
owner laid it down, had to come in and remove all the concrete. It was a mess. And one other thing that they're mentioning, we've seen them before, but they're not very common anymore, are those trolley systems on really steep lots. And they're kind of entertaining the idea of maybe allowing those again or issuing some permits for a trolley system on those steep lots. But that also, of course, has to go through a full approval process, and they can cost around $75,000. So it's not a little expense to get one of those installed, but that is something that the Corps is kind of entertaining again. And one other thing to note about unauthorized things on on docks is lighting. You cannot have string lights on your dock. You cannot, a lot of the lighting has to be shielded and facing down. Also, no pergolas or sunshades, even though we kind of see sunshades a lot. And then also we see this a lot, but jumping gates, those are not allowed either off the top anymore, at least. I used to have one at our house and it was so much fun, but yeah, nope. So they're pretty particular. Just have to make sure everything's approved or yeah, hide it.
Crafty.
Or take it all off, take pictures, send it to the court, so it's removed, put it back on. Let's see, we talked about timber trespasses and the yellow signs of shame. Let's see, we talked about, we haven't talked about this yet, but there's grandfathered provisions that are not available today, such as paved roads to the water, boathouse, which is a dock with sides, you know, they look like the Quonset huts, or grass to the water mowing permits. If you buy something that already has these grandfathered in, then you can continue to enjoy those benefits. But for any new permits, they're not going to be issuing any grass to the water.
Teresa, how do they go about say if there's a lake property that is up for sale and say it belongs to an estate or someone that doesn't live there and the agent doesn't know that, hasn't done their due diligence with it, how would someone know that there was some grandfathered potential in there if it had been there for a long time? Like, can they just go to the Corps? Can they look it up, like call the Corps based on the address?
You can go to the Corps. We're actually dealing with one right now that's an estate, and the 4 siblings are heirs, but they had a copy of their dock permit.
Okay.
But, okay, so here's something interesting. So let's just say that you know, Michelle has a dock permit in her name, but then she decides to put it into a trust. She has to go through the entire change of ownership again, which is going to take another year just to get it put in the trust. So what we recommended to these people is that their dock permit expires, is it July? I think it's July or something
Yes.
like that.
Mhm.
So they were going to apply for change of ownership, but golly, that's going to take a year, right? It's already still valid. So we just hope to sell it in time that, you know, the dock permit doesn't expire, even though a lot of dock permits are expired because the Corps so far behind in doing the renewals. Hope to sell it and then people can start their change of ownership. It would just take forever. They don't even have the deed in their names yet, so. So it's okay. Let's see. Every property's core line is different. We use an app called Land Glide. Have y'all ever heard of that app? I mean, we live on Land Glide. I mean, you can see any and everything on that. And as you walk, a blue dot follows you around. So sometimes it's hard to see the core line. Sometimes there's not red stripes marked on the trees, which is one thing that you can see where the core line is, or there's an orange stake about 3-4 feet high that says U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. But if you can't find that, use that Land Glide app. And as you walk, it'll show you when you arrive at the core line. So it's a really great app. It's like, what, $100 a year?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Plus you can find out who lives where. You can any addresses that you would ever want to know. It's a great app. So, let's see. Okay, Michelle.
Okay, so another super important part of having a lake home, and 95% of lake homes are on septic, not sewer. So, you know, a lot of communities are just on sewer, so you don't usually deal with septic, a lot of neighborhoods, but most everything is on septic. So if you have a buyer and you are looking at lake homes, definitely for your buyer, go to the county and pull the septic records, because it's super important. It's really important if they want to VRBO. That's a whole other thing. But because let's just say, I mean, we've had so many septic scenarios. There's everything from a gravel pit to a 750 gallon for 2 bedrooms to 1,000 gallon to 3, maybe 4, and then a 1,500 for 4+ bedrooms. But I think most lake homes are a 3-bedroom or a 2. So, you know, if you're supposed to only advertise in a listing what the septic records say too, typically. So let's say there are 4 true bedrooms, but you know the septic system is 3-bedroom.
That the county says.
The county says there are 3 bedrooms. So you just say 3 bedrooms plus 1 flex room, could be a bunk room, could be a guest room. So it's just in how you word it, because it just has to match what the septic records say. Let's see. What else about the septic?
Are a lot of homes
Oh.
still on well water on the lake?
Oh, wells.
There's some.
Put it in well.
There are some. We've got one right now that's on well.
Okay.
They can attach to city water if they want to, but they enjoy
The well water.
And there's not natural gas, a lot of natural
Natural
gas around.
gas,
that.
yeah.
There's propane if you want gas.
But if it's a well, you wanna get the well test. Definitely, you get the water and you take it to the water treatment, that's it's off of Black Creek, isn't it? And let's see, so repairs and replacement to septics can be expensive. There was one house that I had and I put in the special steps. Seller to make sure, get the septic pumped, get it inspected, clear, all the lines are great. They were backed up. We took the lid off that and the poop was to the top. It was $18,000 and the seller paid for it. So you just don't know it's the main system, as Teresa says all the time, it's the main system of the home. So that's super important to make sure that that's functioning properly. We typically ask the seller to pump and inspect prior to closing.
Prior to listing.
Oh, and if we're listing the home prior to closing, if you're a buyer agent, and if you're listing, definitely get it done before you list it because a good buyer agent will ask to do it anyways. So it's good to know and be ahead of the game. Let's see. We've got a couple great septic companies that we use, Richland and S&S, if you guys ever need the numbers. So to value a lake property is really difficult. So it's not just comps. There's no comps for a lake property. There are factors that square footage, bed, bath, but does it have a view? What's the topography? Is it super steep? Is it flat? What's the depth of the water at the dock? People say I want an easy walk to the dock, but I want deep water. Well, it doesn't go
Then everybody.
it goes like this. It goes, it's just it's just physics. So topography, depth of the water at the dock and location. How close is it? Is it way up in Murrayville or is it in Beaufort? And that affects the price too. The more south a lake house is, the more expensive it's going to be. Further north you get, the more you get for your money. The core line, you can always change the house, but you can't change the water. You can change the dock, but not the dock size. And you can change, the house and the dock, but not the water and not the lot. So definitely educate your clients about lake level fluctuations too. There's an app you can look at every day. I think it's just called Lake Lanier water levels.
Yeah.
And it'll show you. So I don't even know if we have this on here. When we're showing properties, you have to have an instrument, either a laser pointer or a fishing reel and a measuring tape, and always measure the depth of the water and check it with, is it a standard full pool right now? Or is it low? What's it gonna be most of the time? So you can tell them, it might look like, oh, that looks like really good water, but it,
Could be 5 feet.
could be 5 feet, and it's up. So then what if it goes, and they move in and it's 2 feet? So, you don't want them being happy down the road.
And next we kind of went through, we'll talk about a couple of actual scenarios that we've had personally, or we know of some other lake agents who have. So this one didn't happen to us, but the buyer purchased a home with a 32 by 32, which is a double slip dock. The buyer's agent was provided with a current dock permit. After a property closes, a change of ownership must be requested, like we've talked about, and a Corps ranger will visit the property. When the ranger visited the property, it was discovered that the size of the dock in place was not permitted. The new owner had to reduce the size of the dock to be compliant with the permitted size.
Is this one where they swapped out the dock?
No,
That's a different
one. This is,
But they buy it's beautiful new dock, whatever, and then come to find out, you gotta put your single slip in.
You
So
walk
it
down
happened.
there, great dock, 32 by 32, which is the largest size dock permitted on
permit
the
says
lake.
24 by 28, but
They
look at that.
probably paid a premium for that property too, with it, having that 32 by 32.
They thought they had this fancy $100,000 dock
But now, is there any way to know that before if you're the buyer's
on the
agent?
permit.
You have
It's
to
on the
have
permit.
a copy. You have to get a copy of the dock permit.
Okay,
Yes,
so
you're
that's a good
representing the
idea to
buyer.
do.
Yes, definitely always ask for a copy of the permit. If the agent doesn't have it or anything, you can call the Corps directly.
Okay.
You can call their shoreline help desk, and a lot of times they'll give you it's called a snapshot. So no one will have all the information, like they'll blur out some pertinent information of the owners, but it will have all the permitted things on that, for that property.
So the permit import is the date on there, the expiration date, and then the size of the dock to make sure it matches what's physically in the water.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep,
And the
walkway.
length of the walkway too. That's really important. I think we'll get to that. Is that on here?
Mhm.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Let's see. So, this did happen to me when I first started. This is a very expensive learning lesson. So.
She doesn't cry anymore now.
No, much tougher.
There's an opportunity.
Hardest part now. I don't cry anymore. The buyer, so I had a buyer and I got them under contract. It was a lot with the dock. Okay, the dock was just a placeholder. A placeholder is, you can't even walk on it. It's just crap, but you have to have a dock there if you have a dock permit. It can't just be vacant. It's a placeholder. So like, that's great. So they knew we were gonna buy the lot. We did all the building stuff. We knew what they were gonna build. They're gonna get a new dock, the right size, everything, right? What the listing agent didn't provide me was a seller's disclosure. It's like, why do you need a seller's disclosure? I mean, it's dirt and a dock.
And he's an agent.
He's an agent. So nowhere was a dock shown as being sold with that property. Because a dock is personal property. The day before closing, the listing agent calls me and said, hey, where are you getting a new dock? Cause I sold that one at the, I already sold that one. And I'm like, the dock that you can't even walk on? Yeah, I did. But if you want to buy it, I'll sell it to you for $2,500. So
So guess what Michelle bought? $2,500.
$2,500 piece of crap dock. Because
the price of that dog.
yes. Because we just assumed, and the buyer assumed it would stay on, they could use it, but it's not, I wasn't gonna go to my buyer and say, hey, I messed up. Really, you don't have a dock, so you can't, get it, repair it or do whatever you want. So we had to buy it. So even if it's just a lot, you still need a seller's disclosure of some sort, if there is a dock with it.
Or put it in the
Or put it in
special
special
steps.
steps, right, definitely. Or put it on a personal bill of sale. Something, just make sure it says somewhere.
Because it's
that
personal
dock
property.
road.
It is.
And if there's a lift, that is separate. So if you see a dock and it has a $10,000 lift, you have to write that in too, because that's happened to people too.
Definitely. We've
Then-
hit a lot of things, even the dock box,
The dock
like
box.
just anything that you see on the dock.
Because
Just
if
put
you
it on
just
there.
have dock on there and like, okay, well, they can sell the lift for $10,000.
Mhm.
Wow.
It doesn't automatically go with the house. The dock doesn't automatically go with the house.
Yeah.
Okay. So this piggybacks onto what Michelle and Mackenzie were just talking about. So this really happened to me. This is when I was still wet behind the ears. And so the buyer purchased a home with a new dock. And the dock was checked on the seller's property disclosure. And the day before closing, the seller switched the $65,000 dock and put in an old dock. Oh my gosh, I was appalled that that happened. So now when we write offers for people, we put that the dock as of March the 24th, 2026,
Mhm.
that is at the property remains with the property. And like Mackenzie said, boat lift, dock boxes, anything, just to make sure that's
That's key for
clarified.
it.
Like it wasn't built when the dock was originally manufactured, is like welded to the dock, included on your list.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can sell it separately.
Do docks have serial numbers? They do, don't they?
No, they have dock permit numbers on them.
Okay,
Yeah,
that we can
on
make
the
sure
floor.
that it's the same, like you could include that in your special steps.
Or, yeah, there's a little placard on the tree, and then there's a placard on the dock. It should be the same numbers.
Would it help to take a picture of the dock and include it as an exhibit?
I'm sorry?
Would it help to take a picture of the dock and include it as an exhibit?
It would be a great idea. Yes.
I don't think it hurt.
Yeah, I have a copy. Yeah.
The more information, the better, right?
So this happened to me, also just pretty recently. This isn't really the same scenario, but this is the buyer purchases a home with a new dock. The dock was checked on the seller's disclosure the day before the oh no, that we just did, buyer goes under contract for a property with a dock. The current permit states that the walkway is allowed to be 40 feet. But the walkway is 50 feet. It is possible that once the chain of ownership is complete, they will need to remove 10 feet of the walkway. So what I just had happen is I had a seller. And it was built in the 90s. The house was built, it's been there forever, right? And they did a change of ownership, not a change, they did a renewal in October, and they come out on your renewal and they measured, and it was, I think, 15 feet longer, the walkway, but it had been there for 20, 30, 40 years. So it has to be valid, right? So we had to get that cut off and removed prior to selling it, even though it had been there for years.
I don't know, what is this?
It's
The-
the
you know, where
walkway
you
that
walk
goes from the land to the
land to the dock, like where you gotta walk to get to your dock.
But I mean, it's not permanent, so I mean, how do you cut, I mean.
It's just, it's wood slats with iron.
It's like a timber.
Wood slats, okay.
Wood slats,
Yeah.
with an iron railing.
Got it.
They just chop it off.
Wow. Maximum walkway size, it's not grandfathered
That's on
in,
permit.
it's a 40-foot walkway.
That's the maximum, but I mean, it was crazy. There was plenty of room, but they had-
They're special.
You had to cut it off and we.
So in those situations, it's where either they had lived in the home that long and nobody had ever come out to inspect it.
Not
But
every
they're-
time that it had been sold.
Yeah.
It had ever been caught.
Yeah. Don't be the one that gets caught. Yeah. Dang.
And then this is mine. Let's see. The seller decided he wanted a better view of the lake. Okay.
We all know how this ends, right?
So he creates a backyard. He takes down the trees, creates a nice, pretty sodded backyard. And then he proceeds on the core property, that was on core property, this backyard. And then he proceeds to take down 90 trees so that he has a better view of the lake. So anyway, next thing he knows, he calls the court because, and he says, somebody put a yellow sign in my backyard. And the court said, that's not your backyard. It's our property. And then, so they, and the 90 trees. So at any rate, so he had to, I won't go into the whole story, but his wife, they gave him a fine, $100,000 fine, right?
Wow.
And then they had to replant 90 trees, but you can't just go in there and plant, magnolias and crepe myrtles and things like that. There's certain native species that you have to plant. And so that was keep planting 90 trees and keeping them alive for a year when you can't have irrigation on core property either. So anyway, it's a bunch of dudes down there at the core, so they're not gonna say, oh, you probably need, 5 of these. And so we hired a landscape architect. We went to the core and we had to do a couple of modifications, but we met with the chief ranger and we finally got it totally approved. And the chief ranger said, this was brilliant. Everybody that has a timber trespass should hire a landscape architect so that you know what you're gonna have to plant. So that was a really big learning experience for me and for the seller, but then she listed with somebody else.
Nice listing.
I lost.
Oh, that was sweet.
Oh my gosh.
Questions?
Yeah.
That was your last one, wasn't it?
No, that's it. We have a couple of just like tips and stuff, just to like get more accumulated with the lake life if you want to, if you're interested in it. But the Lake Lanier Association is, the big nonprofit on the lake. They do a lot of wonderful things for the lake, especially like their annual shore sweep, which they're known for, which we do every year. We get involved, pick up trash. I mean, it sounds meh, but it's actually kind of fun. And we make it fun. And so it's only $100 a year to get involved with the Lake Lanier Association and go to their annual membership celebration and stuff like that, get to know the community. And then also on that, get to know the lake, go to the 5 restaurants, go with some friends, video, put it on your socials, things along that nature, along with the parks. Go to open houses, preview like listings, come to broker opens. We've got one coming up on Thursday if you want to come by. It's off of Beaufort Dam. And
Will you put it on the Facebook group?
Sure.
Okay, yeah, put it on the Facebook.
Sure,
group.
sure, absolutely, yeah. Get some social content, that'd be awesome if you'd like. And attend farmers markets, new restaurants, you know, all the things that we're told to do to get out and get to know your area better. And then just get on the lake if you can. You know, someone with boat or house, really get to know them and get out there.
Grace, I saw you posted that I know the new resort, luxury resort just got approved. And so any details on that? Do you know any, like, other than what,
It's right in the middle of a residential area. I can't believe that happened. It's
where is it on the lake?
Browns, right off of Browns Bridge, right behind Crestwind.
Ah, have y'all seen that post? That new, it's a brand new luxury resort going in? Wow. I mean, that's a big deal.
It's a big deal. I don't know what they're gonna do about traffic because it's just a residential street right off of Browns Bridge Road that goes back to beautiful homes.
It's terrible for them already.
Wow. Wow.
Traffic's so bad right there anyway.
Some new listings,
Anybody have any
some
questions?
new listings on that road?
No, I'm not, we don't.
Probably,
well.
we
yeah,
should do
probably
what we
a lot of
should.
people will wanna, yeah.
Yeah, I just want to add, so, because you are now, aren't you the president right now of the Lake Lanier Association?
No.
Oh, you're on the board of something.
I'm on the board of directors this year.
Okay.
So, yes.
So, I just want to emphasize that if you have buyers or sellers, anything regarding the lake, this is who you need to ask questions. Like, if you don't know, because if you educate or don't educate your clients, it could, as Michelle has learned, it could cost you and or your clients a lot of money. So the core is no joke. I grew up on Lake Lanier, so it's
What's your lake house?
off Bald Ridge.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, off Bald Ridge.
Wow.
Chattahoochee Lane.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's a nice street.
The two houses are still there. Yeah, but the core is no joke. And there is no asking for forgiveness. They will fine you all day long and they will come after you and you will pay the penalties for it. So just know that they don't mess around.
This is a funny thing. We were at the meeting with the Rangers a couple weeks ago. You know, somebody, or an agent raised her hand. She said, what about limbing up trees? And the ranger looked at her like, yes. The ranger was like, no.
Yeah.
No.
So are there meetings
Never.
or what are the meetings that people get, if they want to learn more about what, like those environments, where should people go to find all that?
We just got an email from Peach State Bank and they were sponsoring it and it was up at Jackson EMC building on Dawsonville Highway in Gainesville. Yeah,
Yeah,
I guess you just kind of have to hear about it.
okay,
So,
okay. Well, y'all share your broker.
but if y'all join the LLA, there's tons of things that they have constantly going on.
Because y'all set up tents and y'all do like a table setup. I've seen you
Well,
do that stuff.
that's at our
before.
annual membership celebration, which this year is going to be on March the 3rd at Aqualand.
May.
May
I'm sorry,
3rd.
yeah, May 3rd, yeah. But you have to be a member to come to it. It's tons of fun, tons of giveaways.
Sign up and come to it.
$100.
Anybody that wants the link to sign to join, I mean, it's something that you can tell people about. It makes you a much more valid person if you're selling lake property if you belong to the LLA.
Yep, use it as leverage for sure.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Do you have any other questions or anything?
Was that helpful?
Yeah.
Learn about lake information?